This is natural now.
Right,
Come
right.
on, Mike.
Okay.
Question.
So Pat, what was your first game that you ever played on a system in general? Like, what was the first system you played in the first game on a home console?
I'll show you. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'll show you. It was the Coleco Telstar Ranger.
Ah.
Now, this isn't the one I had as a kid.
Well, that's different than the Coleco Telstar Arcade, huh?
They had a bunch of different ones.
Oh wow.
So this one was an all-in-one.
Boy, that's just a straight up gun, huh?
Oh yeah, back in the day they had
like
this
a cowboy
straight up pistol.
Roy Rogers.
I got another one. Oh, you can get killed with that pistol. So this took like 6D batteries that lasted like maybe an hour.
So you basically shoot at the television at your CRT?
Yeah, well, plus it had, handball, OI, whatever that is, tennis, hockey, target, and skeet. So you had 4 Pong-type games.
Oh, is it a Pong console?
Yeah, those are all Pong, but they had a few back when they had guns built in. Yeah. They had the 2 paddles in the back and the gun. So this was the first one. My dad brought it home. We played it. But then he had to buy the AC adapter. Or did he buy the AC adapter? Because the thing freaking 8 batteries alive. Like, it was ridiculous. So back then, all those like Odyssey consoles of the 70s, a lot of those didn't come with an AC adapter. A lot of them were just batteries.
Do you have the Magnavox Odyssey or the Odyssey 2?
Oh, come on. Of course I do. I got both of them.
You do? Or I don't know if you're joking or
no,
not.
I actually have it in the white carrying case.
Oh, cool.
The Odyssey 1. And I have a box as well. I have it totally complete, basically unused.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it's the first run. Some people want to get the first run edition of it. The first print run versus the second.
I guess here's a better question for you. I got a question for you. What consoles and systems do you not have?
I don't have an original Xbox. I don't have stuff before the year 2000.
Yeah, not like but before Nintendo 64.
I don't have all the Pong systems from the 70s.
Well, nobody would expect you to have all the Pong systems.
I have a few of them. I have the Telstar Ranger. I have some of the Odyssey 100, 200. I think like 4 or 5.
I mean, do you have like an Intellivision?
Yes, I have an Intellivision 1 in the box complete. I had an Intellivision 2 complete in the box unused, and I have an Intellivision 3 console only. Which the Intellivision 3 is the same as the 1. The 2 is different. But the 3 looks exactly like the 1, except it's different color.
Do you have a Commodore or a VIC-20?
Yes, I have a VIC-20 in the box. I have a Commodore 64 in the box. I have a TI-99. Not in the box. I used to have a T-99 sealed new in New Jersey. I got it at a swap meet, and I sold it. It's like, who wants it? No one still wants a TI-99. The only things I don't have from the U.S., if you count it, I don't have like I don't have the Atom computer from like Coleco.
Okay.
I don't have that. If you even count that,
Swan.
Was that U.S. for a handheld? I don't have a Wonder
I don't even
Swan.
know. Actually,
I do have a Neo Geo Pocket Color, which is Ian's favorite handheld, of course.
Yeah.
I do have a Neo Geo AES US. I finally got one. I have.
Do you have an Amiga CD32?
I do. That didn't come out in the U.S. though, but I do have one.
It did. That's not true. It did come out in the U.S., but it was a very limited release.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was just Canada. Okay.
Nope. Oh well, you know what? What I meant to say was NTSC. There's an NTSC. So yeah, not in the. You're right. Canada. Yes.
I believe it was shipped only to Canada because I got mine from super collector Steve Lynn, who's one of the only, I think, 3 people that own both NWC carts.
Yeah.
And I got mine from him, and he was cool enough to get me a controller. So originally I bought the system.
Well, wait, you own both NWC carts, don't you?
Maybe.
You don't want to answer
that? Well, yeah, you know I have them. Like I did the video with James.
And that's what I was going to say, because you made it seem for a second like you didn't have them. I was like,
That was me playing coy, Mike. Come on. I don't. People think I bring him up just to brag about him, which I don't. But we talk about him. We talk about him.
Right.
But, yeah, they're in a bank vault somewhere. Jesus Christ.
They should be, because what if you spilled something on it or broke it, or But you know what? Yeah. I know that you got it in like that. You've got it in a protective case, so it's fine.
Yeah, I got it in a case. I both in a custom make, basically the same way you get the games graded.
Right.
Custom cases were made. Because,
well, I was talking about earlier how I feel like people shouldn't have the cartridges like in that because you should play them. That's an exception. If you have a game that's worth $10,000,
well, that you can take out.
How much money it's worth, you should protect it.
Well, that you can take out though. The games you get slabbed, you can't easily open them. You got to crack them open with a hammer.
How nervous were you to take those out to film that video? Were you nervous?
James was more nervous. James was more nervous than me. I think he was more nervous.
Yeah.
He was more nervous. I think he was like, oh, like even when we did the scene where we destroyed him, we like, even though we like triple checked to make sure the ones we were destroying with the hammer was the fake ones, that we made there. We were like, okay, those are the fake ones over here. Those are the real ones. Like we were both like 8 times like, okay, we're destroying the fake ones here. The real ones over there. Like we were that paranoid about it.
Right.
When we took the hammer to it.
I mean, this could probably go into a whole nother topic, but writing with James, because you helped to write that video, and I, and very few other people have, I think, had the experience to write something nerd material with James. Definitely Kevin for the AVGN movie. And I had nothing to do with writing anything for the movie, but what I guess the question really is, what was that like as far as working back and forth with the writing portion of James for that Nintendo World Championship, Angry Video Game Nerd episode 104?
Yeah, I just missed the freaking Blu-ray that came out. I just missed it by 4 episodes.
Well, it'll be on the next one.
I guess I'm one of the few. I guess maybe Doug Walker has written some material for the AVGN character.
I think when they did the whatever that video was, the
fight.
The fight. I think Doug came up with some stuff for that. Yeah.
Sure, but I guess along with me and you, what were the privileged ones? I guess I've written part of the NWC, and then I did the crossover from a couple years ago, the 2-part with Bayou Billy and Punisher.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that too. Yeah, that's right.
And so I did that, and I've done the all but one of the special exclusive ones for the NS Marathon.
Yeah.
So if you can say I've written like 6 things with the nerd character roughly.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the original one, it was very great going back and forth because me and James, I think one of the reasons we get along, we have very similar sensibilities, I think, when it comes to what we think works in terms of, I guess, the narrative, and our comedy sensibilities are the same. Even though our personalities, I think, are different. Our comedic sensibilities are similar. Mm-hmm. So the way that worked was literally first like drafts going back and forth, with me writing in lines for him, and then of course he'd revise the nerd lines, I revise the Pat lines, since we can both write our own characters better, and that's how we sort of built it up with that, and then ideas. But it went through about 3 or 4 rounds, and that script originally was like it was going to be like a 25-minute video originally. I had written in stuff where like we were playing, it was like it's going to be like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, like we were playing Battleship against each other. And then we did this thing and this, and then we got to the game. But then we had to narrow it down to something we could shoot one day. Originally, James thought we were going to shoot that in 2 days. I said, no, James, we got to shoot this in one day. I only here one day.
I was friends with James when he was just James, and then one day he became the nerd. So it's when you met him and you knew him already as the nerd. Was it weird for you to find out that he's just like a nice guy? He's really absolutely nothing like the character.
He is a definition of mild mannered, where it's
right.
Like
he's like
most calm, serene,
absolute opposite of the nerd character. So was that weird for you at first? Where you're like, wait a second, this guy isn't like the character?
The first time I really talked to him was when at SGC 2010, where we had like lunch together after he got mobbed, and I couldn't tell maybe he was just really tired, or he didn't want to talk to me. It was hard. I was like, because I'm very outgoing.
He can be quiet a lot.
He was very quiet, but then I thought maybe he just didn't. Maybe he said, "Oh, this guy's an asshole." No, it was just that's the way he is.
Yeah. You want to get him talking? Bring up like it's a mad world, or the Three Stooges, or something like that, or Godzilla, and he'll start talking.
or metal bands or something.
Metal bands.
Or,
Yeah. He's got to be interested in the subject matter.
Oh yeah, of course.
I guess like anybody though,
Yeah, talking about I think I remember talking about just film and things we had in common. But but getting back to that episode we shot, it was interesting because no one knew who I was in 2000. I mean, people still don't know who I am now, but I mean, compared to 2010, I had like 3,000 subscribers in 2010. Here's James, the biggest guy on YouTube, doing collaboration with some asshole that no one knows. So that's why I think James is very special, because a lot of YouTubers wouldn't do that. A lot of YouTubers would just look at your subscriber count and say, "Fuck you, I'm not even going to talk to you."
He doesn't think like that. He doesn't care about that. He just cares about he cares about the content and how the video would come out. Would it make a good video? And if it would, if he sees merit in it, then he'll do it. He doesn't care about the popularity shit.
Yeah, that's why I always will respect James and always will be loyal to him because of that. Because he could have just said, "Nah, screw you." Right. Obviously, yes, I got the gold NWC card. But, he still didn't have to. He could have said, "Oh, let me borrow it." And I would have said, "Okay, just borrow it." Right. But it was a cool script. And a lot of the funniest stuff we ad-libbed on set, we thought of on the spot, like the combat thing, the combat. Like, it was funny stuff we thought of, or the little looks, or just little interactions. We sort of spiced it up as we went. I think we were good at doing that. And suggestions. Behind the scenes, though, when it was edited, there was I remember the biggest thing which we had to iron out was the ending. We had two very different sort of ways we wanted the video to go at the end. Very different. And of course, we ended up going with his version because at the end of the day, it was a nerd video, which was fine. Well, that was the only thing that we really had a disagreement on, was the ending of that video. That was the only...
That point that you bring up is very important, and that goes to, with me, when I've helped him out with episodes, is the same exact thing. If I come up with an idea, or if I if I'm playing the game or whatever my contributions are, it has to go through James. So he has to approve. He's the nerd. It's his show. So if I come up with something, he might take it and maybe he'll use it just right from what I did. But a lot of times he'll take what I did and he'll improve upon it or change it or whatever. So like what you're saying, you're like, oh, I had this idea and James had this idea, but we went with James' idea because it's his show. Same exact thing for me. Like, sometimes he'll take my ideas, and sometimes I might disagree, but at the end of the day, it's always James' call with everything.
Sure. You know? I remember, though, to me that video, though, I mean, obviously it was his video, but it was basically 50-50 on writing and ideas for the most part. I remember maybe he wasn't used to it, and I'm like, he's probably like, what the hell is this guy, Pat? After he showed me the first rough cut, I sent him back like 12 different suggestions of edit changes. Yeah. He must have been like, holy shit, this fucking asshole. But to his credit, though, he made some of them and was like, oh, that was actually a better idea to do it that way. I was like, oh, that's cool. But the ending, though, was the only thing that we really had a different disagreement. I wanted to go in a much more subtle ending, like I tend to do with my videos, and he wanted the, hands around the throat, like big dramatic. He wanted to go. I wanted to have more of a message with my ending.
And you know what? If you think about it, if you think about the nerd series and the episodes, you can understand, like, that's kind of the style of the show. In that case, I would have to agree with James because that's more fitting to what the show is.
No, looking back, of course, it worked out fine. Yeah. People. I think that's one of the more memorable. I mean, he's done 150 of these things, but I think that's one of the more memorable.
Almost. We just shot 149 the other day.
So I think, not to toot my own horn, I think that's one of the more memorable episodes because of the whole interaction, and it's a little different.
It is a good one. Yeah.
But to James' credit, though, when he let me do the Bayou Billy Punisher 2-parter, I guess he trusted me enough to say, okay, Pat, run with it. And I thought it turned out well. You saw part of the filming of it at the end, I remember, my dramatic line delivery at the end.
I was there, I remember that,
But I liked that he gave me the opportunity to sort of mine an area of the character I think that hadn't been seen before. Or let's maybe go into more, not the darker recesses of the nerd mind, but what would be the motivation behind how this character would actually live and interact with another person? Right. And what would he actually do?
What's great about having you in there in an episode, or having a guest on, or having something different, that's awesome, because like you just said, it's almost 150 episodes now, and people now say, oh, why does it take so long to make episodes now? It's because we want the show to be really good, and having you on the show is a good example of doing something different. It's not just James playing the game, because it's like, you know what, he's done that 150 whatever times. So it's always about, how do we keep this fresh? How do we keep it interesting? I found that Seaman game. I was at a game store and I saw that it was Dreamcast. The nerd had never done a Dreamcast game. It was there was a microphone with it. It was Leonard Nimoy had something to do with it, and and it was like this weird fish tank thing. And it was so different and so bizarre that we were like, this would make a good episode, because the nerd has never tackled anything even remotely like this. So we're at a point now that it's like, how do we do something a little different? So with your episode 104, that's a good example of, it was very different, and that's what made it a good episode. And that's exactly why they take a little longer to do now, because we have to really think about, what can we do that we haven't done before. So that's the question, and I think you're gonna enjoy the next episode we have coming up because it is different and it's good. So
maybe Pat steps into the nerd universe in the future again. Who knows? That's not. I don't know. You never know.
Maybe it's James comes through your window at night and comes to strangle you, or who knows?
Well, we've basically done two if you count the it's in the nerd universe, I guess. My episode with the Volubility one,
right.
But James was cool. He let me do that. He let me explore the character of the nerd being a little bit of an asshole to his quote unquote friends, which I thought was interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe Pat will make a cameo if they ever do a future nerd movie. A second one. Maybe Pat will be a cameo in that one.
We'll see about that.
Random gamer number 8.